Hello, everyone. We are back on the Orange Visuals podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, Corey Harpster
Hello.
from LifePoint Realty Group with Color Real Estate.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on, Corey.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're very busy as a realtor,
Mhm.
and you are also our very first, kind of more on the new side. We wanted to give our audience a new perspective, kind of, hey, like, what is it like for a realtor that's just starting out? Because when we see realtors, like, they've had 20 years, 30 years of experience, it's very easy to be like, well, of course they knew that this was going to work. Of course they knew this was going to be, was it how it was going to be like. But what is it like for right now as a realtor starting off 2025? Very interesting market in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes.
And yeah, Corey, let's get into it.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so tell me about your childhood. You were born in Virginia. You
Yes.
moved to Columbus,
Yes.
and then kind of tell me how your childhood built you as a person.
Yeah, so my family's from Columbus, but my dad was in the Navy, so I was born in Virginia, but we moved back when I was like 3, so I don't remember it. But yeah, my family have also always been full of entrepreneurs. Grandparents on both sides own their own businesses. My dad owned his own business for a while. So I've just kind of always seen that like hustle and that grind, and just like hard work. And yeah, so it just kind of was just natural and just something I've always been around. So
Was there any part of you that was ever like, maybe I'll be a real estate agent? Because sometimes it's people like look up to it. Is that ever?
yeah, I mean, I think it definitely crossed my mind, but I've thought of a million different things to do throughout the years. So it really was the past couple years that it just kind of clicked with me that, my drive to work for myself and my drive to own my own business, real estate was a great way to do that because there's already really a model in place and a process to follow.
Mhm.
It just is like I have to execute it in my way. So it just kind of finally clicked with me that that was a great avenue, to get what I was looking for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was looking into you, and then you went into college, Ohio University, and
Mhm.
then you kind of dropped out after one semester.
Yes.
How'd you know? How'd you know it was right? Like, how'd you know this wasn't for you?
Well, it was kind of a little out of necessity. I was not focusing on school. I was focusing on the new freedom
Mm,
that I had. I'm not one to say that like I need routine, but all through high school, I had it. I would go to school, I would go to practice, and I would go to work. And so once I got to college and had like freedom and didn't have a routine or a schedule, like I just like kind of, yeah, I didn't handle it well. So, OU's notorious for being a party school. So,
yeah, I've heard.
yeah. So after about a semester, I was like, I'm wasting everyone's time and money here. I just need to come home. And so yeah, I came home, got my own apartment, started working 2 jobs, and started taking classes at Columbus State. And then I kind of recreated that routine. And so that just worked better for me.
Was there anything you were going after while you were at Columbus State, or?
No, I think that was the other problem was, like, with OU and Columbus State, I just was taking classes because I was like, "This is what I'm supposed to do." At Columbus State, actually, it wasn't until a couple, like, rounds of being there that I finally landed on, an entrepreneurship certificate. Um,
Mm,
so it just was I never really saw a path with college that was like, "That's for sure what I wanna do."
mhm.
Yeah.
And then, so you worked at hotels, you worked at restaurants, bars. How did you kind of get, hey, this wasn't for me. I need to go into real estate, because being an agent is not a very easy career.
No.
It's very difficult, as you probably know now.
Yeah.
But back then, what was your thought process? Was it just to get out of the restaurant life, or?
Yeah, it was just to have a little more control over my schedule. I've always liked restaurants and hospitality because it's fast paced and there's just a lot going on at once. And so it's not, the same like mundane tasks every single day. But the part that didn't fit with me was the time commitment. I was assistant general manager and general manager of a couple places, and you have to be there,
Yeah.
12 plus hours a day, 60 hours a week. And so the piece of me that likes to have multiple things going on I couldn't do it because I did not have the time. So again, once I kind of made the realization of what real estate can be for me, and I realized I can also pursue other passions in life, it kind of a good fit.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Now that you've started being a real estate agent, how do you see all those things you've done in the past with the hotels, the restaurants, the bars? Like, how has that helped you with your career now?
I think, like, just learning, just some skills of, like, attention to detail, having multiple things going on at once, obviously the human connection, that I just have the natural ability for, but also developed in hospitality. It all just, came together to be a good, fit and skill set for real estate. The part that is challenging is I don't have, like, someone really telling me every day what I need to be doing. I don't have, like, a checklist or whatever. So that piece is, like, what I'm growing in is just, like, the accountability for myself of, like, doing the things that need done, because I don't necessarily have, like, a boss.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then I guess kind of tell me how you got into LifePoint. How did you get into real estate? Who told you about it? Where you started taking classes and then eventually your journey into LifePoint?
Yeah, so my, sister-in-law, my, husband's sister-in-law, her family has been in real estate for a long time, and so, we've been together for about 8 years, so I've been around it for that long, and have kind of I've seen it and I'm familiar with it, and so once, a couple years ago, like, again, when it just kinda clicked what it could be, I reached out to them, I went and talked with them, and they were like, "Yeah, we think you'd be a great fit. We'd love to have you on the team." So it just kinda came together really well.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
And then one thing I'm interested in also is I usually ask like the guests as well this question, but since you're a newer real estate agent, what is your future look like with real estate where you have this ability to go and do all these things? Because you've mentioned it already a couple of times, like, hey, I want this real estate career so then I have the freedom to do the other thing. What are those other passions that you want to pursue through this career?
Yeah, so I enjoy, working out a lot. I enjoy just kind of, pursuing other interests, and so, like, with real estate, I can't say that in 10 years I'm going to be all in real estate, only real estate, and, I see myself being successful, but I also know that for myself to be of service to myself, I need to be able to, have, other things happening too,
Yeah.
just to keep me just engaged in life. That's just how my brain works. So, yeah. So I am going to continue grinding and growing the business. You know, and just yeah,
Hmm.
that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah. I'm interested also now with you and Cutler, because LifePoint is now merged
hmm
with Cutler Real Estate. How has it been? And what do you see differently in the agents that are the top producing agents, like those that are like truly like Jeff Rush, like Susie Pattison? What do they do that you see that you can incorporate into your real estate career?
It's gotta just be the grind. I mean, they, are just, the top agents on my team too that I see, they're just, I mean, all in, constant. They live, eat, sleep, and breathe real estate, which I commend completely.
Yeah.
They're really, and it's the accountability, the self accountability is, I think, the biggest thing. I think the stat is like 1 in every 3 realtors will continue on after a year,
Oh
so
wow.
it's, like, a very high dropout rate, and I think the biggest part is probably the accountability piece of, people coming in thinking, "Oh, it's a job, and I'm gonna go to the office, and I'm gonna have these things to do." You have to do it yourself, like, you have to show up, you have to go to the office, you have to pick up the phone, you have to talk about it and put it out there, so any top agent would probably tell you, it's you have to treat it like a full-time job. You are running your own business. And so you just have to really respect that. And
Mhm.
yeah.
How do you structure your day? especially being a newer agent. Like, it's not like because a lot of like older agents, like now they have the referrals, they have
Yeah,
the like third time buying their home with
yeah.
them. Like, how do you structure it with, hey, like and the thing is also, we didn't mention this yet, but you still have a job.
Mhm.
So it's like you need to make money to obviously pay the bills, support yourself, but you also need to make sure that your real estate career is not left behind. How do you focus with your real estate career? How do you structure it for success?
Oh, good question. I feel like I'm winging it sometimes. But we have our team meetings once a week, and then we have team collab time throughout the week. So I try to be there for that. I try to make sure that I'm active on social media several times throughout the week. I've worked my schedule out to where I'll be able to do open houses every Sunday. Open houses are big as you're starting out. So it just is. Yeah, just, keeping going, even if I don't necessarily have someone to call that day, I'm either trying to find someone to call or I'm, getting out there on social media and just, staying active and yeah.
Mhm. With your job, that you have right now, so you currently work at a floral shop, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of help them with events and everything like that. When do you plan on leaving that? Is that because you have your husband, right?
Mhm.
When do you plan on like leaving your floral shop and then just going full in on real estate career and then just growing the income off of that?
Yeah, so I don't have, I guess, a number in mind. It really is just once I feel that there's some consistency going, I could have a closing next month and then it could be another few months before another one. So I think once I just feel good that there's kind of a steady flow, I'll be ready to yeah, be done with the full-time job and
Everything and just
yeah,
kind of move on from
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And then one thing I'm interested in is also, what do you think of courses, coaching? Because there's a lot of even there's a lot of things a realtor could be doing. Like
Yeah.
there's networking events, there's seminars, there's people that will train you on Instagram, there's courses online. How do you go about those with training? Do you do you go after any of that?
Yeah, so, Cutler's awesome because they have a great training program, so again, I started at a really good time for when they merged. They've been doing, I don't 16-week, maybe even longer series on the ninja selling program, so that's been every Monday. So I've been going to that, attending any, company-wide events and the rallies and stuff, and then just the team I'm on is, like, I just am very lucky because it's just a genuine group of people that just want to help each other. I've heard a lot of stories from other agents that started out in other places where it was kind of cutthroat and like no one really wanted to help you and everyone's out for themselves. That has not been my experience on my team. It's a very collaborative environment. So just talking to people. I mean, if I have a question on anything, I just call someone or text someone or talk about it in person. But yeah, there's so much out there to research. I feel like with the internet and social media, it's just like anything. You just kind of have to like vet it and see what aligns with you. But there's so much out there that you just have to show up. You just have to register for trainings, go to the
Yeah.
rallies. If your real estate group is doing this sales training series, go to it. There's a lot of good stuff out there.
Mhm. Yeah. What would you say is kind of like the best, actually, yeah. What would you say is the best advice you've gotten so far from real estate agents or like these courses that Color now has been giving you?
Show up and pick up the phone. I think like a lot of people, if you're not used to like a cold call type of situation or just talking to strangers on the phone, it can be really intimidating, especially nowadays. So a lot of times I'll find myself with a lead and I want to just send off a text. I'm like, no, pick up the phone and call them. Even if it's just leaving a voicemail and then I follow up with a text, there's still something really like personable about a phone call that will help you connect with that person much quicker
Mhm.
than just, sending a text.
Was it tough for you to get used to that more of sales kind of job compared to being a general manager? I mean, working in a restaurant is also really tough as well. So, kind of what was that transition like where it's like, okay, like, I mean, we all know, like, no one likes cold calling in reality.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you just like, "Yo, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go after it and that's it?"
You just gotta do it. My last full-time job, as I was taking classes, right before I took my test, I was a sales manager at a hotel, actually. So I was there for about a year. And so I did learn some great skills from that and just practicing. I mean, it just is like anything, you just have to do it. It's not easy, it's not comfortable, but the more you do it, the less and less you worry about it. You
Mhm.
know, I probably in my beginning days of sales, I would have, almost panicked if, I picked up the phone and talked to a stranger and they were like rude or they were standoffish or whatever.
Yeah.
But now it's just like it's just part of it. You just have to do it.
Yeah. No, I was gonna bring this up about kind of like with your fitness thing. Like
Mm,
we're gonna talk about this kind of with the triathlons and everything. But with fitness, uh, like it's not ever like really fun. Like I run. Like it's not like I mean I enjoy it, but it's not like I'm having like a blast out
right.
there. But it's just something that I do and I know needs to get done, and I just take what I already have and kind of like try to make the best out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like kind of what you're speaking to, where it's obviously we don't want to do cold calls. We're just like eventually waiting to that point till referrals come in and
Yeah.
it's like awesome. But for right now, it's kind of like, yeah, you
Yeah.
just tough it out and yeah.
Yeah, it's just consistency. You just have to show up for yourself and, you have to be the one to tell yourself, "No, you're gonna do it."
Mm-hmm.
No one is going to force you to pick up the phone. No one's gonna force you to go to the gym. Like, you just have to do it yourself, and then eventually it just becomes routine. I'm at a point now where, like, working out, it just is part of my day and my week. I don't really even think about it that much. I just know that I am going to do it and I have to do it, and so, but that took a while. That took, like, many, many months of, like, being consistent and going on the days I didn't wanna go, and, it's the same thing with business and, anything. You just have to force yourself to do it.
Was there any point so far where you've been in Cutler and you're just like, I'm done with this?
There's been discouraging moments. I haven't dealt with anyone too like complicated or anything. But you get really excited because you get a buyer and then they're ready to go, and so you're moving quick and you're excited and you're like this is gonna happen, and then something happens and like well I'm actually gonna wait a little bit, or oh actually lending didn't quite do what I thought it was gonna do. So then there's highs and lows definitely. When you're feeling discouraged though, again, fortunately, I'm on a team of people that are like, "This is just part of it. You just keep going, keep going, keep going." So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good. Can you tell me a little bit about Freeport?
yeah, Freeport is, a mobile bartending service that, I'm starting. My husband and I actually conceptualized it a few months ago, and then it kinda took a back seat, once I passed my test and started, pursuing real estate more. And so then I just was randomly asked to, work this private event at someone's house for the Kentucky Derby. They throw this big party.
Mhm.
And so I just randomly got asked to do that and, reconnected with some old friends and coworkers, and I told them that I had already kinda started something like that, and they wanted to be a part of it, once we book events and stuff. So I'm hoping to announce that, next week. I just have to get the website kind of finalized. But yeah, we're gonna go to just private events, either at homes, clubs or venues that don't have a bar service.
Yeah.
um, you know, our kind of like value proposition is your time. The party we were at, the hostess was just blown away because she was like, "This is the first year I've enjoyed myself," because she wasn't worrying about anything. We were keeping food restocked. We were taking the trash out for her. We were cleaning up the mess. We were making the drinks for her guests. And so, there's a lot of value there for people that love to host and, like to throw big events to where they can actually enjoy themselves while we take care of, just running the party for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Kind of. How did you approach building that? So you said this is something that you started with your husband.
Mhm.
Are you more of in charge of it for right now? How do you balance kind of and thinking about, hey, which people am I gonna have help me with like this bartending stuff? Like make sure like I'm not having someone that's gonna cause trouble.
Yeah, I fortunately know a lot of people in the industry, of course. And I just feel like I trust people until I have a reason not to. But it's a very, like, low kind of maintenance or whatever startup. There's not a lot of costs involved. We're not gonna have liquor inventory. We're gonna
Mhm.
have supplies, but it really is just once we book an event, we're gonna be able to show up, and they're gonna provide all the alcohol. We're going to set up a bar for them and then run it. So it's really is like a kind of low, like, I don't know, stress of.
It's like a really good first business
Yeah,
plan
yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah,
'cause it's a yeah, you don't have to deal with the inventory,
yeah.
and then but you guys are licensed, right?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we're all tip certified, and ServSafe certified. I know I am, but I have, like, the LLC. I have kind of all that side of things. Um, but yeah, so we don't need a liquor license because 'cause we're not gonna have inventory. We don't need we're not providing food or anything. It's really just the service. So it's a pretty
Yeah.
easy. Yeah.
I guess.
Yep.
Can you tell me even though okay, so it's by the time this episode will come out, most likely this will have already started. What is your plan with finding clients and how similar is that with your plan to finding clients on your real estate side?
Yeah, it's, networking, just like with real estate and, we collectively my friends that are Heidi and, Rachel are the ones doing it with me. We collectively know a lot of people. Heidi's actually a realtor too. And then at the flower shop, I meet a lot of people having events and event planners through there. And then just leveraging social media and just with our circle and our sphere, and then hopefully, word of mouth from there, and yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. One thing I'm interested in is kind of how how big do you see Freeport becoming? Is it something that will always remain as a side? Or is it like, hey, maybe this will take off, maybe I will stop with the real estate? Or is the real estate permanent?
Real estate's permanent. Yeah.
Real
I'll
estate.
I'll always be active. I'll always have my license. I'll always, help friends and family. And then, again, hopefully, of course, it grows from there. But with Freeport, I mean, it'd be great if eventually we had several teams out at once and I was just kind of overseeing it and not having to work the actual party. But, until we get to that point, I'm hoping that we can book, a few events a month, every month and a half or so. I don't see it being right away like a full-time commitment for any of us. But for now, just like a lucrative kind of side gig and side hustle. And hopefully we can, get a good flow of bookings and yeah, just good extra money for all of us.
Yeah. I guess one thing is also because with real estate, there's a lot of different paths. As an agent, you could do a lot. Do you have a path that you like maybe, or do you have like, hey, you see someone's career and you're like, I would like to follow this person's trajectory. Maybe it's being a team owner, or maybe it's opening up your own brokerage, or it's maybe just like being on the real estate investing side. Do you have kind of a vision of or, like, someone that you're like, "Hey, I wanna follow this person's path."
Yeah, I think I really, plan on staying in residential, mostly. I do like the idea of, being a mentor eventually. I like mentoring people, I like leadership. And then I also eventually think I wanna get my commercial, certification, because I just think that would help me in business down the road. Not necessarily that I'm a full-time commercial investor, but, whatever opportunity might come up, I just think it would be helpful to have that knowledge and that experience, so.
Mhm. So it's more of just growing in what you already have and then
Mhm.
kind of with the commercial side. And then one thing you brought up kind of, before is you were saying on how you need a network with real estate. How do you approach that?
So I have just started with my sphere of people I know, friends and family. And so, just and putting them in my database and then, kind of hitting them with some marketing emails. Hope it doesn't annoy anyone too much, but
Yeah.
you gotta support me. So, and then open houses are big. My very first buyer that signed with me was the first person that came to my first open house.
And they didn't have an agent?
They didn't have an agent.
Oh, dang,
So,
alright, that was nice.
yeah, so it was like, all right, so open houses are big. And then, yeah, just, I need to be better about, like, community stuff, like joining the chamber and things like that is all part plan to do. You just have to talk about it too, like, anywhere you are, you go out to eat and you just, if it comes up and, you just have to be ready to talk about it, have your card on you at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put it out there, put the energy out there into the universe.
One thing is also with you mentioned a chamber. I guess my main focus is, do you have a specific area that you're targeting, or maybe I mean, I guess you're most likely going after first-time home buyers as a newer agent,
Mhm.
but is there anywhere that you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna be the Worthington agent. I'm gonna be the Bexley. I'm gonna be the Dublin, Hilliard." Do you have any of that yet, or is it for right now, kind of see how it goes?
Wherever. I've been downtown, I've been out to Marion and Delaware. I know that's not sustainable. I do think I would enjoy being downtown mostly. I just love the older homes and I like the affordability for a lot of first-time home buyers. So I think if I could get to that point of where that's my main focus is like downtown and just kind of a little more historical homes, some fixer-uppers, people that are open to that challenge. I just think, yeah, that would probably be
Mhm.
my choice.
And then, so with one thing you mentioned, it's like a small little point. It's like, oh, you like send out marketing emails to your family, like your friends, obviously. Was there any like hesitation in the beginning? I was like, dang, I'm a realtor, but like, I
Yes.
don't want to send like my friend from high school like an email. I don't want people like random people from Instagram that I maybe have met, and they're like, oh, guys, I'm a real estate agent. I sell homes now.
Yeah.
Was there any like uncomfortability with that?
For sure. I mean, it's you're kinda showing your cards and you're just, putting yourself out there and being vulnerable, which is uncomfortable. But I just kept telling myself, like, if they support me, they're not gonna mind, and if they do mind, they just have to hit unsubscribe. It is what it is.
Yeah. And it's kind of also like you're doing your thing, and
Yeah.
it's like, why should they be bothering you about
Yeah.
something that's your life?
Yeah, exactly, and, it's I don't think there's anyone that friends and family of mine that have received that, haven't enjoyed it. But yeah, you just have to talk yourself out of that, like, "No, this is your thing, you're doing it, this is your business, and you just have to own it," and
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that. I like the "I own it," and
Yeah,
it's like, that's it,
yeah,
because you can't you only answer to yourself.
exactly, yeah.
So, and also kind of how do you balance now life with all the craziness? I mean, with three poor, the flower shop, real estate agent, and you still have time. You told me you did a triathlon.
Yeah.
Was it recently or you done? I think it was this year,
It was 2 weekends ago.
2 weekends ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Dang, how do you find out the time to like cram this
Uh
all in?
Well, I just think it's just kinda how my brain works, like, I'm just, all pistons at all times, like, that's just I don't know, it never stops, and so I just make it work. I mean, if I have, a couple hours here and there, I'll jump on my computer and knock a few things out. If I'm at home and I'm just kinda don't have a lot to do or I'm hanging out on the couch, I'll pull my laptop up and start doing some stuff. Um, I just make it work.
Yeah, I
I just
got
keep
you.
moving. Yeah.
Can you tell me about the triathlon experience? Just because
So
I've never done it, and I'm just like, what is it like? Like,
yeah.
how do they make sure you don't die, like drowning or something?
I don't know. It was really, really hard. I've always been a runner. I've always enjoyed working out. And I've always wanted to do a triathlon. I've done a couple half marathons and smaller races, and I did the Rugged Maniac, which was like an obstacle race. And a triathlon, I just have always wanted to do it. And so we found a sprint one. The distances were a little shorter. It was half-mile swim, 13-mile bike, and then a 5K to end. The swimming, I'm not a strong swimmer at all. One of the lifeguards actually asked me if I was okay while I was out there because they had people in kayaks, like, kinda circling you, so there was definitely safety measures. But yeah, it was really tough. And then, like, once you hit that water, it was just so cold, and it just immediately took my breath away, and I just felt like I could not, like, get it back.
Mhm.
So it was very uncomfortable. It's very hard,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Is that experience you're gonna go after more, like doing those Ironmans?
I mean, that'd be great. I just liked it. Like when I was like finishing my run, I was like, "Holy crap, like I just did that." Like I just went out there and did that. Like it just was a very like I don't know, made me feel like really like strong and like, all right, I can do hard things.
Yeah.
Like
No, it's nice because it's very so I'm a runner too. So, the reason why I like it, and I think I kind of see it it gives you a mentality of, "Hey, this is really hard, but you have to keep on going."
yeah,
And it's really good for real estate.
yeah,
It's just real estate is kind of a marathon where it's a little harder to see the finish line.
yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, but we've seen people, I mean, people are the results, like, you've
Mhm,
seen people succeed in this.
yeah.
If they go and grind hard and, like, you go and you're working hard, you own it,
Mhm.
there's gonna be a finish line.
Yeah, and I think that is I've learned a lot of, like, lessons with running and stuff, when I was younger and, like, obviously in high school and stuff, our rule was, like, you don't walk, like, our coach, like, drilled that in our head, like, you don't walk, I don't care how uncomfortable you are, you can be running at a snail's speed, but you don't walk, and so that was always in my head, and then as when I hit 30, I'm 31 now, I was like, "I don't have to do that, like, it's okay if I walk a few minutes." Like,
Mhm.
just giving myself some grace there on, like, my it's okay if I walk for a couple minutes and then just get right back up and start running again.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
as long as you're making progress.
yes, just keep moving forward. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And I guess kind of now, since you've been a realtor. I mean, you're still very new, but with the experience you've had, what do you say to the high schooler that's thinking about being a real estate agent, or maybe someone that's, hey, oh, I want to quit my job. I want to be a real estate agent. What would you say to those people about getting them prepared for this career?
Make sure you have a lot of money saved up.
That's
Have some savings. A lot of realtors start out, they have to work. They have to work full time. So if you are able to, have a good amount of money saved up and only work part time, so you can commit more time. The more time you can commit to it, probably the faster you'll see results from it. But aside from that, it's a lot of fun and it's fast paced and there's a lot of things you have to stay in the loop on, a lot of changes with regulations and laws and stuff. So you've got to have your finger on the pulse and stay in the know. And it is not the job where someone's going to hold your hand and tell you what to do and, pat you on the back every time something great happens. Like, if you are someone that needs that guidance, it might not be for you.
Mhm.
But if you're someone that, can show up for yourself and hold yourself accountable, then it's definitely worth looking into, and there's so many. Before I signed up for, classes, I was just all over the internet for hours just watching different videos and pros and cons and just listening to different people talk about, just what it is, and so, just do your research on it.
Mhm. Yeah. I guess I want to see also your opinion on this question because there's a lot of realtors in Columbus. Like there's a lot.
Mhm.
How would do you help yourself stand out, and how would you recommend for these people that are coming in where there's a lot of competition?
Yeah.
How do you help make sure that you are standing out from the rest of them?
Definitely leverage social media, stay active on there. Everyone's scrolling through their phones constantly, and so the more people are just seeing you and are constantly reminded, oh yeah, he's in real estate, he's in real estate, he's in real estate. It'll probably start out with people friends and family. I mean, I've also heard that it's been total strangers. But just staying on top of mind with your sphere is, really crucial, because so many people are active and so many people are really good at social media and some people are not so good at social media. But yeah, you just have to stay top of mind with people and standing out, is just I don't know, you have to find your whatever makes you unique and special. Um, I think with me it's my just, like, connection with people and my just, like, I'm not, like, pushy, I'm just very I just want people to be comfortable and have a good time around me, and so I try to, give that off whenever I have a consultation or if I'm at showings with people, I try to just really be there for them, and yeah.
Yeah. And then kind of as a closing question, I always like to ask people what is the biggest life lesson you have gotten out of real estate?
Biggest life lesson, just being open-minded. Which is not something that's ever been hard for me. But there's a lot of, like, good out there, and you can get caught have seen already, like, you can get really caught up in just trying to, like, close a transaction. You have to keep in mind, like, the human part of it, that you are helping someone with the biggest investment they're probably ever gonna make. And so, just taking a step back when you start to get frustrated or you start to get kinda tunnel vision and take a step back and remember, like, "Okay, I'm here for them. How can I help them?" Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, that was really good.
Yeah.
No, Corey, I really thank you for coming on. It's very good to hear, especially a new perspective of an agent that has not seen the success. Because it's very easy for agents to be like, oh, yeah, I had to work really hard for this. But then it's like, but we don't know what it actually feels like. It's
Mhm.
a lot, that feeling's a lot differenter when, because you've been a realtor for not too long. You got licensed this year.
February, yeah.
Yeah. So you have been working since February, and even now it's like there's still not that much results. Well, tangible results,
Right.
like
Yeah.
money in your pocket,
Yeah.
basically.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's more of, hey, putting in the work
Mhm.
eventually will get me the results. It will give me the clients. It will give me the referrals, all of the good stuff that actually the real estate career has to offer.
Yeah, and aside from, a transaction or, earning money, I mean, I have already just learned so much more, about the industry and the field just by showing up and being a part of the team and, going to trainings and meetings and stuff. So, which just helps me when I do go to a showing feel that much more confident about what I'm talking about. My first showing, I was very, I don't know anything, and then I realized after a while I was talking about the house and, like, things to look out for in the house and what different things are, and I just kinda clicked, I'm like, "Oh, I've learned this stuff," like, I do kinda know what I'm talking about a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's really nice. Yeah, no, I really want to thank you for coming on,
Thank you.
and maybe we'll have you back in a year, just kind of like a progress update,
Yeah,
like
that'd be
just
cool.
because it'd be cool, like just every single year having you come on, and then
Yeah,
eventually till like your top broker, or
yeah,
we'll see where it ends up.
yeah, tell 'em the big bad realtor out there.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, I appreciate it.